Hello and welcome back to the Real Music Talks. Today's guest is Ryan Kelly, also known as All White G, and he's based in Bristol. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing good, Dan. And yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad at all. It's getting a bit cold now, but all
Yeah.
ready for Christmas and of course the football tonight.
I'm not much of a football fan myself, so you can crack on.
I'm not either, to be fair, but when England are playing, I love like the atmosphere and everyone getting into it.
Yeah, I can't argue with you on that one. So,
Cool, cool. So let's get right into it then. So for people that have never heard of you before, how would you describe yourself and your involvement in the music industry?
I would describe myself as a motivated, determined, and a very special individual that just and how I got my start in music. My start in music, I will admit, I started off terrible at the beginning, but throughout my progression, I started to get more and more better. And especially working on the second album I'm doing, I found the improvements to be well and truly out there.
Great. No, that makes sense. So it's constantly like a learning activity for you almost. But I guess what sparked your interest in music originally? Like, how did you first get into it?
Um, well, I took an interest in it when I was 15 years old. I was in foster care at the time, but went on holiday and there was it was in 2010 and it was all these good hip hop music came out because Eminem came out with Recovery and he was dropping songs left, right, and center with like Not Afraid, Love the Way You Lie, No Love, and everything. And I found that fun, enjoyable, entertaining, and also motivated me to start writing my own rhymes because, like I said in the beginning, I was terrible and but as far as my lyrical process goes, I began getting better and better and better and better as the years progressed, like I said earlier. And it sparked my interest to get me out and get me working on my own music and build on my progression, which I did.
Okay, that makes sense. So talk to me about your learning process. Do you like put something out, get feedback from the people that listen to it, and then adjust it from there? Or is it constantly like you're practicing and perfecting your craft?
Um, well, as far as practicing for my craft, I just put songs out. This is way before Spotify. I put my music up on SoundCloud, but I started off with the freestyles, which I called my compilation to help build up my lyrical ability and my both lyrical and self confidence in myself in my music. And I started rapping over other artists' beats to help perfect my own lyrical ability. And depending on the song and the freestyle that I chose, the flow could sometimes speed up, but sometimes slow down a bit, depending on the lyrics I write. And that built up my process and my confidence to work on my own solo songs. And to answer your question on feedback, I at the time I didn't care about feedback. I just cared about putting out music left, right, and center, and hoping everybody would just see what I can like cook up really. But I do get like the occasional feedback on one or two songs every now and again. It didn't start becoming a majority of the feedback didn't start majorly until like this year, this throughout the whole year basically. So yeah.
Okay, no, that makes sense. So that kind of grew over time. And you talk a lot about like the focus on the lyrics there. Like, how do you like collaborate with other musicians in terms of the instrumentals? How does that work?
Oh, well, that when it comes to collaborations, that's just specifically for songs, not for freestyles itself. But when I pick a song title, I have to think about the artist and see which one could fit this specific song with a specific beat. And I did a whole bunch of times. But how I begin how this process goes, I when I collaborate with other artists, get them in the studio with me, so we have the same creative vision. And when that vision is met, we then work on the beat, we then work on the song, and then we work on the lyrics. And I've worked with about um, three artists over my career, but twice with one of those artists. And yeah, I really love collaborations. I'm addicted to collaborations, especially with the artists I've listened to, like DJ Khaled and French Montana, and other artists that I can care to mention. It's just a unique process, really.
Yeah, completely agree. Because everyone has their own kind of perspective, and you both kind of have an idea of where something's going to go. But ultimately, that path can change depending on how you bounce ideas off each other. So I completely agree that like working with other musicians is like absolutely key to that. So where do you get inspiration from for your lyrics? What does that process look like?
My process of lyrics, well, they sort of like it just depends on the beat, really. And if I listen to like other artists and how they use their flows on their beats, then it can give me inspiration to not necessarily just create my own, obviously, but also work on the flow and the texture of the flow, and how it could all corroborate. So that's the kind of process of how it goes, because every single beat, whether it be hip hop, R&B, or EDM and all that, every single beat is different. And when it comes to the lyrics, the flow is obviously going to be different as well. Sometimes they may be the same, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they go slow, sometimes they go fast, or sometimes they just meet in the middle. But yeah, it just depends on the beat, really.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about the actual words themselves? Like what sort of themes are you including in your lyrics almost?
Well, as of last year, 2021, I've mainly gone a bit personal because, like I said, I'm working on my second album, Open Opportunity, and I've gone to a bit of a personal sort of direction with this particular project, because I released last year, um, well, all I would say is one personal track and three very fun tracks, like Smoke and Mirrors, Been To, and Unstoppable. But the one personal one I've dropped in that year was Autistic Angels, and I'm autistic. So that blends well with the personal stuff, and as well with this year with Wide Awake, which has like a very, very deep personal theme to it regarding um, mental health, not just men's mental health, but um, all mental health that everyone goes through. And yeah, my lyrics on that particular song are just dark at best. And then Judas Kiss with my friend Ryder Durelli, all about like toxic relationships and how I've been in a few. And so is he. So that's also what I said earlier about the two artists being in the same space, that have the same vision, and depending on the beat that's made, we if the whole collaboration process runs will run smoothly, and it did that with Judas Kiss. And yeah, I'm happy of how that song turned out, and I'm happy with every single song that turned out, and I'm gonna get more done in the new year.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I completely agree with you in terms of like you're bonding over like the emotional side of the song and what it actually means. So you touched a little bit on some like mental health struggles you might have had in the past. Talk to me a little bit about that and maybe like how music has helped you.
Um, well, the main mental health struggle is that during lockdown in 2020, I got calmed down my money from this person that I know, and whew, we just whew, she said she would pay me back, but she hasn't. That caused me to go into a really, really mental breakdown and everything, and that caused me to self-harm. And yeah, it really, it took the turn for the worse for me. And music, I calmed down in the end, and listening to the music calmed me down as well. But it wasn't until 2021 when I just like started working on the personal stuff for the album. Not necessarily for what I did with my mental health. That didn't come until this year. But it just fed more into the songs, into the songs, the beats of the songs, the titles of the songs, and with the meanings behind it. And every meaning is different, but one of those was mental health, and that came with Wide Awake as of this year.
Okay, no, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, I think it'd be good to maybe hear about some of the different releases that you've had over the time, and like, I know you said about you're learning all the time, but talk to me how your music's progressed from like when you first started until now.
Well, how it first started, I won't count any of the freestyles for the moment, but I will say that when I started making my first ever batch of songs, for my first album, 1994, the Bristol rapper, I've listened to my lyrical progressions, to the beats I've done, and my confidence. I will say that compared to that, all the way to the recent releases, um, my impact on music is changed exponentially because of with what I've seen in myself, and the fact that I made it all personal for me is a different direction. And that different direction took me to places that I never spoke of a lot. Obviously, I touched a little bit in the songs I've done for my first album, 1994, The Bristol Rapper, but it wasn't completely touched upon until this recent project and in some of the freestyles I've done. So yeah, that's that's what it is.
Okay, that makes sense. And what did you do to learn the skills and develop yourself? Like, do you just practice, right? Do you just practice making more music, making more raps, or did you research? Do you learn from other people? Like, what does that look like?
Um, it's kind of like all what you just said. Just like I watch artists. Yeah, I practice by myself first of all, just to work on not necessarily jot some lyrics down on a piece of paper and just let it roll off the tongue. It's just just come up with words, hoping they would fit the flow and what flow I could come up with. And I do listen to other artists to study their flows, whether they be American or British or in any other language. And I basically pick up on what they've done and what words they've used. If they use a bit of wordplay in those lyrics, that's genius. And I pick up a lot of wordplay from my idol in music, and which is Lil Wayne. And yeah, that's just helped me out loads throughout this journey.
Makes sense. And you know, you talked about like you get inspiration from beats and stuff. Do you tend to just write all the lyrics down on paper, or is it more like you kind of the beats come to you? Do you know what I mean? As you hear the music and then you record them.
It's basically that when the beats are made, and I haven't got a specific. If I got a specific title in mind that would suit that beat before it's even made, then that's fine. But if the beat is made, then I would think of a different title, or I don't, depending on the outcome of that beat. But no, as far as putting lyrics to beats are concerned, it just depends on what it sounds like, and I could go away for about a month or two if um if necessary for the time frame, and or even more than 2 months to work on the flow, work on the lyrics. the lyrics don't suit the flow, then I just change it all up a bit. It's like I said, a learning curve. But the more I learn, the more I'll be able to make not necessarily a hit song, but just a song that I think people could listen to and relate to. And that's kind of like my main mission as of as of 2020 when I started working on my new project. So yeah.
Okay, makes sense. So your kind of mission is just to make the music relatable for like the everyday person, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's the plan for it.
That's interesting. Why is that important to you?
Because with every single song I've done, I've always put out songs for fun and for an enjoyable reason or another. And then I have like certain songs that let me just think back now. Yeah, that's like one or two singles I've put out, not necessarily just like songs and stuff, but one or two songs that families and some most families, sorry, could relate to. And that was my life on my first project. But now with the new songs, the new singles I've dropped, this will relate to a lot of people because most of them could have autism. Most of them have been through mental health struggles. Most of them will go through toxic relationships. And with Smoke and Mirrors, Been To, and Unstoppable and all that. Smoke and Mirrors is my first ever rap rock song, and I got transitioned, I got made into a music video in this year. And Been To, it's just a New York track because I've been to New York in 2019, which gave me inspiration for the title of the project. And Unstoppable being my first ever trap song. And with this album, not only I wanted to make it more personal, but I wanted to incorporate different genres like trap and all that, and rock and stuff. So that's what I've done, and it's a personal project, but it's also an experimental project, and that's that's how it is with me right now.
Makes sense. So it's almost like you found your feet and now you're trying to experiment with different genres. Like, where do you see yourself going in the future? Like, what's the plan for, say, the next 5 years?
Well, the next 5 years, I have been thinking about this, is try, and use that word, I use that word massively, try and get a live gig going, because I progress more in lyrics and stage confidence. But the one thing I haven't done is actually performing my music up on stage for people just to vibe to and to enjoy and get my name put out there, because I've tried to do that through social media, and it's worked well. It's worked well for a time, but as far as selling my music goes, I haven't actually like succeeded in that part. I'm hoping next year, but if not, then maybe somewhere along the line in those 5 years with more music I put out and stuff.
It makes sense. Yeah, it's definitely difficult to sell your music these days with Spotify and all that. You know, you don't get a lot of money through streaming services. Um, so that kind of all makes perfect sense to me. So you talked about your music video. Do you want to talk maybe about that process and your experience with that?
Yeah, I can. It was a dream project because I've been dreaming of having a music video for one particular song. I didn't know what that song was at the time for Smoking Mirrors in 2020 and 2021. But since 2017, I've always wanted to have my own music video. But because of my education, because of financial problems, and because of the stress and everything going on to university, I just couldn't find the time, let alone have the money at the time to fund the music video until this year. I picked out a song, like I said, Smoke and Mirrors, and then I got a friend who's a director, and he's done music videos for artists in the past. and I came to him with an idea, and we got everything filmed in one whole day, and we got everything filmed in one whole day, and right now, it's doing massively well. I had a lot of support. I had a lot of feedback from the music video, and I enjoyed it. I was nervous, but I enjoyed making that video, and I'm hoping to get a few more released to put my name out there as a more of a bridge, as a big stepping stone, if you like.
Makes perfect sense to me. I mean, these days video content is becoming like the thing to do. You know, there's peaking
Yeah.
interest. There's always platforms like TikTok just using video. So it makes a lot of sense, to be fair. And you can pick your best tracks and put out those videos and use it as a different way to promote yourself. So we're actually nearly out of time, but I do want to dig into some of your struggles a little bit more. So for someone that's starting out in music, but they're lacking in confidence, or maybe they have autism, or maybe they're having their own struggles, what advice would you give them?
Well, this isn't automatically just go for people with autism who want to get into music. If it's it goes for anybody who has like a disability, whether that's autism, cerebral palsy, or you have ADHD, or anything else that you have um, going on with you. You just need to keep working on yourself, working on your confidence, and for me with autism, I didn't even go to concerts. And the autistic people have a thing where they can't like stand noise and stuff. And but because of my mom, and she's been a massive, massive support for me throughout my life and her like whole life since having me, that she has to fight the autism, fight the fact that I'm not going to struggle with society and be in society. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be going to concerts, they're hearing all this loud music, making musical content that everybody could like relate to, hence and also doing a music video as well. But as far as social ability is concerned, that's a me problem. That's not her problem or your problem or anybody else's. It's just mine. But basically, what I'm trying to say is build up yourself, get used to the sounds if you're autistic, and but the main thing is confidence, self build yourself, keep building yourself up, and you'll be able to progress in music in whatever genre that you can like that you can build yourself in. And also if you do that, then hit me up. And that's another thing as well with featured artists. I've worked with three male artists, and I'm hoping to have female ones on my project or in the future songs, because I have yet to collaborate with female artists, and I know several. I know like three or four, and I'm hoping to get in the studio with them some point in the new year.
Amazing. No, that's really great to hear. So like I said, we're nearly out of time today, but is there anything else you'd like to leave the audience with as we close out? And again, this is your last chance to say anything that you want.
Basically, I've like I said, as far as putting my music out on Spotify and stuff, that didn't happen until this year. But I would appreciate if you could continue listening to my music, keep supporting everything that I've done. And in the new year, like I said, I'm planning to have at least two or three music videos put out there, more collaborations with artists. So if you want to work with me on new music, hit me up, and we'll be able to do something in the new year. But no, keep this, and I hope to perform my music live one day. But in the meantime, just keep supporting me, and you guys will be rewarded with some brand new material from me. I can make that an 100% promise.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Ryan. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for having me, and hope to be on for the next one.
Amazing. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time. Take care.